Welcome back. I'm so excited for today's discussion. We are going to be talking about client onboarding. Okay, so now we have the basic foundation set up for our business. We know the pricing, we have our time management, our task management all set up. We know who our ideal client is. We've started to market and engage with people. We're networking a bit. We've now had our discovery call using our questionnaire, and we're to the point where we're going to onboard our first client. And that's always a very exciting place to be. So, like I said before, we want to take charge of all these processes to show that we are a business, we are not an employee, and we really want to start off that dynamic properly, because the more they can understand that we are a business, we own our own business, and we're providing services through our business, the more respect they're going to have for us, because we're not just working for them, we're working with them. So I do want you to make sure that you are in charge of the onboarding process. Now, they probably, depend on the size of their company, they might have their own onboarding process as well, but I want you to have your own in place. So creating a professional client onboarding process is key to make sure your clients take you seriously and, like I said, respect you as a business owner. So our goal here is to protect you and protect your business and your client. We want to protect our clients and avoiding a lot of issues right up front. So the more we can get in place here, the better for the long run. And I could say it a million times, but please remember, you are a business owner, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we have a contract in place. Now, legally, I cannot tell you exactly what to say in your contract. However, I will provide you with some best practices, some things that I want to definitely see in your contract. The items that I feel are most important that I always made sure I had in my contracts. There's so many contracts online. I know that Dubsado has a bunch of contracts. They don't have to be perfect. I mean, definitely review them. If you want to have a lawyer create one, that's fine. There's like LegalZoom. There's so many different ways that you can grab contracts and just kind of, figure out what works best for you and what feels right. There's also a lot of affordable services out there that will write them for you. You can find these in a lot of the Facebook groups too. If you're in entrepreneur Facebook groups, there's lots of lawyers in there who, that's what they do, is they just write simple contracts for people like us who are VAs or providing different services to make sure we're protected and that our business is protected. So don't stress out about this too much. Keep it simple. It doesn't have to be 10 pages long. You just need to have some basics in here. But you do need to have one in place. And if Dubsado, you can send it, but there's like DocuSign, there's EverSign. There's lots of different options to send out a contract and make sure you get an actual digital signature, just so we have it in place. And usually, I mean, you don't always really need to rely on these contracts, but when someone's willing to sign one, you know that they're taking it seriously. They're probably going to pay you. Like, it's just good. It's a good way to kind of set the dynamics. If you are using Upwork, you won't do a contract. They handle all that back end stuff for you, which, is a benefit of Upwork if you're willing to pay that percentage fee. So the things I want to make sure that you have in your contract. The first thing is the payment terms, because we don't work for free and we're going to get paid for our work. And so this is going to be the amount to be paid by the client. So whether that's your $35 an hour, rate, or your $500 per project, etc. This is really going to be something that's clear, and it needs to have a dollar amount attached to it. And if you're going to have a deposit to get started, so if you're working with, doing that 30-day trial, and you're going to have them pay 50% up front and then 50% at the end of the 30 days or something like that, make sure that that is included in your contract, because we want to receive the money, because we don't work for free. And include whether this deposit is refundable or non-refundable. Oftentimes in the contract templates, this will be very clear. And then I also want you to include in here how you're going to be paid. And so is this payment going to be monthly in PayPal, or is it a credit card or check? Obviously, I don't encourage you to accept cash because we're working online virtually, and I don't want to be liable for anyone sending me cash in the mail. That just doesn't seem like a good idea. I would, for my business, I only do online payments. It's up to you how you want to get paid, but in your contract, I really want to make sure you have this clearly written out. And you can also say in here whether an invoice is required prior to payment. I always say that because it's professional. If we send an invoice, then our client has that documentation too, which they need. And so it's just a nice thing to have in there. And then also, what is the payment timeline? So are you going to invoice them weekly, monthly, per project, etc.? So just details, but it needs to be clear. And that way you guys are on the same page. You should discuss the confidentiality in this contract. To that extent, most virtual assistants will have a confidentiality provision. And even if only to provide peace of mind for your client. So it's going to show that your business is run professionally. You want to ensure that both parties know exactly what is covered, so no surprises or accidental disclosures. And so basically what that means is, this is included in most contracts, but you're going to get a lot of information about your client's business, and this protects them that you're not going to steal it. You're not going to just put it out on social media. You're not going to share it with other people, right? So let's say you're working with the online business coach. You're going to learn all their strategies. A lot of these business coaches run masterminds that are, $5,000-$10,000 a month, and you're in the mastermind. So you're getting a lot of content and what is happening in this mastermind. So by saying that you're going to keep things confidential means you're not going to go out and share all these different, secrets in this mastermind with everyone in the world. That whatever you learn about due to, your access as a VA is just for you and your client, okay? So the confidentiality doesn't protect you so much, but it's just there for your client. And it helps them feel good. It knows that you honor, you value them, you respect them, you're looking out for their best interest. And then contract termination. So who can terminate this contract? So obviously, I would always include that you can terminate it. And you have to decide, is it okay with you if your client terminates it? That's up to you. And then what is the process for terminating? Does it need to be written in email, or how does this termination need to be communicated for it to actually be official? And then when can you terminate? So how much notice is needed? Now, I always put in my contracts that I will notify a client at least 30 days in advance if I'm going to terminate a contract with them, okay? But I also put it that they have to notify me 30 days in advance as well. And this just protects both sides, because if I'm doing a big recruiting project and they're going to back out, I need to know that's coming, because then I can up my marketing to try to find another recruiting client, but it also helps them because they know they can rely on me, and that if I, for some reason, have to back out of something, they're going to have 30 days to find a new recruiter. And so it just helps us on both sides, knowing that we're not going to just drop the ball and disappear, that if it's not working, or if you have a job change or something like that, that you're going to give notice and they're going to give notice to you. And it just financially is a nice thing for both sides. And then payment. So how is the payment going to be handled if the agreement is terminated? So typically what will happen here is that either you're going to end, if the 30 days is, let's say you get paid in the last day of every month, you would give your notice on the first day just to kind of, keep it clean. If it's not like that, then most likely you're going just to do a prorate where, if you did half the work for that month, you're only going to invoice them for half, because we want to honor people. We don't want to burn bridges, and we never know when that client may come back, or they might refer us to one of their friends, because networking is strong even in the online world. So we have to be careful. And then we're going to have deliverables in this contract. So making sure that this contract exactly outlines what you're going to be doing for your client. And you're going to create as specific a list of tasks as you can in here. Now, things evolve. So this list is not going to be, well, it's not in my contract, so I'm not going to do it. it protects both sides because things can evolve or expectations can be outrageous, and we can kind of go back and be like, okay, well, here's what we originally agreed on. Maybe we should discuss this again. It just kind of keeps it close to like where we started, so we can have a better communication line on expectations. And then passwords and account access, you can put things in here. Kind of goes into the confidentiality, like you're not going to share things. You're going to be responsible and honest and have integrity with your clients. Okay. So go ahead, and tonight, you have a few tasks tonight, but one of them is going to be just looking at different templates you would like to use. I will provide a contract I've used. It is not a template, but it's something you can look at for inspiration. And just kind of decide what you want to include in your contract, whether you want to hire someone to help you develop a contract or you want to write your own. Either way, it's completely up to you. I am not a legal expert, so I can't truly advise you on this. I will just say, like, I really encourage you to make sure you have some type of contract in writing and use a digital system that takes an online signature just to make sure that signature is valid. Now, once we have, that client said yes, we sent over the contract, they've signed the contract, make sure you sign the contract as well, because that contract does go both ways. We are going to truly start our client onboarding. Now, we have this in place. We're going to make sure we print off that contract. We're going to save it in our Google Drive, or whatever our system looks like. Make sure you do keep a copy of that. And then make sure that you provide a copy to your client as well. The nice thing, if you do use something like DocuSign or EverSign, is that they're going to provide both parties with a copy of that contract. And then we're going to work on our welcome onboarding packet. So again, we are really putting ourselves out there as a business. So we are acting as a business and we're not acting as an employee. So we want to make sure we're onboarding our client just as much as they might be trying to onboard us, and just to help dynamics and help them have the right expectations and respect for us as virtual assistants. We are going, in this packet, we're going to, give them any information they need about us. We're going to put our link in there and how to book a call with us if they need. If you have certain office hours set up for your business, or that you're going to be working on this client in the morning, put stuff like that in here. Like, my office hours are 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I'm not saying that I'm just working on your, business during that time, but I'm most likely available during that time. Or, you might say my preferred line of communication is Slack, or, just any information about your business is going to go into this onboarding packet. And I will link a sample below just so you guys can start working on what this onboarding packet is going to look like for your business. And making sure that we clearly communicate the next steps from here, because we sign the contract, we get all this set up, and we want to make sure that we're the ones guiding the next steps. So tonight, I want you guys to focus on looking at contract templates, kind of make the decision for your business on how you want to handle that part of the situation. And then you're going to start kind of drafting and brainstorming what your onboarding packet will look like. So I know you have a lot of homework tonight. You are going to have a day of catch up here soon, so don't stress up too bad, but just keep getting bits and pieces done as we go, and you'll be just fine. So have a great night.